Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you for joining Tarnation TV and the Flatout Racing Network for broadcasting tonight, of course, at Rolling Thunder Gaming, season number 66. The Talladega Challenge always happens on Thursday night, so that just so happens. That's where we are right now. Again, thanks everybody for watching. We've got all kinds of stuff to talk about. Some future races to talk about as well, but I'll let Sir Kyle Matthews and Seth Cole take care of all that stuff. What's up, guys?
Hey, good to be here tonight. Midway portion of the regular season here. We're literally now going to be into the home stretch towards the playoffs. Had 4 different drivers go to victory lane so far in these first 4 races. 3 of them former champions. The bracket challenge begins here tonight as well. For those that aren't familiar on how that goes down, we'll be talking about that later on here. But Kyle, obviously it's starting to maybe get a little congested up there inside of the playoff stands. We know 12 drivers are getting in, but right now we know that 8 drivers have the opportunity to point in. 4 spots go to those 4 former winners.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned three of the winners we've had so far this season are former champions. The other winner we've had was his first ever win in this series, that being Denny Carroll. So, interesting parity we have going on, and everybody else is wanting to lock themselves into a spot tonight. So, the closer we get to the playoffs, the more pressure these guys are going to start feeling.
I go back to the previous 2 races specifically. We could maybe even go back to Denny Carroll's victory 3 weeks ago, and it seems like if you can have the track position late in the race around that 10:15 to go mark, you had a pretty good chance of maintaining it. Grant Wesley was able to keep everyone at bay on the last race to go. Last week, it was Joe DeSpirito able to do the very same thing. So while we talk about positioning yourself on the last lap, we're kind of almost seeing a running trend now in the last couple of weeks of positioning yourself for the final restart.
Yeah, that's where that's really the most important part of the race. If you can get up there, after that final restart, put yourself in a position, that's when you have the best chance of winning. We saw Joe DeSpirito perfect that last week. He didn't really lead a lot of laps until at the very end. So this goes to show you don't have to dominate a race in order to win.
Of course, coming in tonight as well, 4 races under our belts, 5 races still left to go until we determine the playoffs, but there's that regular season championship that's up for grabs. That pays out some valuable bonus points at regular season's end. Still a tight battle between Chuck McClure and Denny Carroll, only 3 points separation. You got Brian Schilling, Grant Wesley, Greg Palmer, they're about 22 to 27 points back, so a little bit of a gap from second back to third, but easily could see a driver from third back to around the 12th, 13th position mathematically with a victory here tonight, put themselves into the single-digit category for that regular season championship. Obviously, when we end up getting to the midway portion of any type of a season, doesn't matter if it's a 9 regular season race schedule like this, or if we look at maybe a full schedule, go about 13 races into a 26 race regular season, it's an opportunity for drivers and teams to kind of reflect back, kind of observe what's happened in the first 4 races and maybe figure out what do I need to keep the consistency going if the season's been going well, or figure out what do I need to change in terms of my strategy so that when my luck turns, if you haven't had the best first 4 races. Looking at a lot of drivers down outside of the top 15 in points, a couple that really jump out at me. Ulysses Sandoval, who was a 3-time winner last season, sitting currently in 19th. Jeremy Jeffries, the defending champion of this series from 1 season ago, currently sits 23rd. These are drivers that we're not used to seeing mired this far down in the standings based off of how consistent they've been 3-4 seasons ago. What do these kind of drivers need to do here tonight?
Yeah, that is a huge surprise. I mean, Jeremy Jeffries, and not alone the defending series champion, you would expect to see him already have a spot locked up in the playoffs. You look at Ulysses Sandoval 2 seasons ago. He was so consistent. We were sitting here asking ourselves, when is he going to win a race? He finally did that last season. He won a couple of others, during last season as well, and was a championship contender. But as good as these guys are, I don't think we should worry about them too much. I mean, these are 2 guys that can win at any point.
Sometimes it only takes that one race to be able to change the complete outlook of your season. Of course, for a number of those drivers that we talked about right there, and a number of others that are down currently outside of the top 20 in the point standings, if you win, that solves all your problems. Then all you have to worry about for the remainder of the regular season is maintain above the top 20 in the standings, and you lock yourself up a spot in the postseason. Drivers are gritting up here on pit road, getting ready for another 66 laps of racing at the fourth version of Talladega Super Speedway. It's going to be John Godfrey lining up on the pole position. How about the Tarnation TV car qualifying in second here tonight with the qualifying draw? So you will see an empty space on the outside of the front row. Bob Seminara, a driver that ended up unfortunately missing a start 2 weeks ago, did not have good luck last week, and he's another driver that finds himself outside of the top 20 in points coming into tonight. Makes up row number 2 with Robert Breedlove, Craig Hagley, and Brian Schilling, former champion in row 3. Row 4 with Jeff Crivello and Keith Bynum. Glenn Harris and Andrew Miller in the field here tonight, going to complete the top 10. Mike Mangialardi and Kelly Causey going to be back in row 12. Nice to see Coach in the field this evening. I have to check, but I believe this might be his first start on the season. We haven't seen that 00 out on the track here yet. You go back to row number 7, you find Bob Dixon and Mark Paglia. Row 8, Tim Nofsker and Billy Elliser. Row 9 with Randy Waugh,
Luigi,
and Grant Wesley, a former winner on the season. Josh Metallic and Doug Hulick are going to complete the top 20. In row 11, we find Bernie Mobbs and Jessica Loralee, about halfway through the number of starts she's going to make this season. Row 12 finds Denny Carroll, who comes into this race second in points, former winner of the season. He's joined by Pat McCarsky, Ulysses Sandoval back in row 13 with Cy Jones. Milt Surratt back in row 14 with debuting Noah Wetzel in the number 70 car here tonight. Former champion Richard Martin will complete the top 30 in row 15 with Donnie Garrett. Last week's winner, Joe DeSpirito, starting deep in the field. 31st is where he'll roll off the grid alongside of Greg Lovell. Chuck McClure, who won the season opener, is going to be back in row 17 with Rodney Sullins. Row 18, going to find Terry Bombard and Garland Oaks. Row 19, Robert Spring, Jeffrey Elliott, and the rest of the field tonight, completing the 41 drivers that will take the green, include Bobby Farrell, Brian Rawson, and Cody Lamas. So it looks like 2 drivers going to be making their first start on the season here tonight in Coach Kelly Causey, and as we mentioned, Noah Wetzel in the 70 machine. Full field again here tonight. I believe that they had knockout qualifying this evening as well. Unfortunately, a few drivers had to be sent home. Another packed field, a lot of points on the table once again. Only 4 races in, so points are still close. You can easily jump multiple spots in the standings with a good run or plummet multiple spots with a bad performance. We'll have to see who's going to be on what side of the coin, as halfway through the season, race number 5 of season 66 is green.
it's like Breedlove actually beat Godfrey there to the line.
Yeah, it was a pretty busy TeamSpeak channel. I mean, like you mentioned already, the possibility of knockout qualifying happens almost every week here. Very busy league. Been around for a long time, very popular, especially this series on Thursday night.
Very popular, very competitive. Anytime you have people not be able to make the show because of that, it just goes to show you how tight it is.
We hear just about every week when we talk to the driver that eventually is in victory lane, they say, man, these races, these wins are so hard to get because the competition level is so on par from the front to the rear of the field. Makes it all the more special when you are able to get that brass ring and park your car in victory lane. It's not going to take very long here for us to go 3 wide. That's Kelly Causey, Mark Paglia, Billy Elliser, Grant Wesley up there. 3 wide for the 5th position as the top 2 rows remain double file down the back straightaway.
Kelly Causey making his first start this season, wasting little time here, going for the race lead on lap number 2 here.
Does it surprise you, though? that these
No,
guys are going
not
three
really.
wide here at Talladega? This is a
Not at
great
all.
track, too. That looks so awesome. I love that. What's the time difference from first to the back? That's always a crazy thing. It's always within a second for like the first 20 positions, especially when they're three abreast like this, because, you know, you could be in that second row and you could still end up being in like 7th place.
We'll see here when they cross the line. I mean, I believe you could throw a blanket over the top 24 that were separated by a second that last time by, and I wouldn't be surprised
31.
if it's more than that this time, yeah.
I'm showing
Caution is out.
31 positions within 1 second of each other. Caution is out.
We got several drivers involved back here in the center of 1 and 2, including former winner Chuck McClure.
Looks like
Oh,
Noah's
wow.
burning.
We had one, at least maybe 2 cars up and into the catch fence.
Wetzel's first start here, and unfortunately, it looks like that car's on fire.
Something happened to Chuck right there. Somebody. Looks like they checked up a little bit on that inside line, maybe?
Yep. Wetzel in the 70 getting in the back of McClure, and then, wow, Robert Spring. I believe he actually got caught in the catch fence.
I had a request when we go on, if we do any onboards, go on board with Cody. He said he had a really good view of that.
Oh, Cody did. In the 48.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, we'll back her up.
Harry Bombard. Like Richard Martin got clipped. Greg Lovell. Garland Oaks. As well as Randy Waugh, all involved in this.
Well, this is wreck avoidance 101 right here. Wow. He wasn't kidding. That is a good shot.
You know, obviously we talked about the fact Noah Wetzel's making his first start here tonight. You know, these drivers have all raced with each other season after season, kind of know the tendencies. They've raced this racetrack here 4 times previously this season. For Noah Wetzel, it's kind of a trial by fire here, kind of learning as he goes in the big pack, not realizing that there was that checkup on the inside line, getting into Chuck McClure. Tough way to make your debut here tonight. Only, 2 laps in, and more than likely done for the night.
74 looks like he almost got ejected from the racetrack. He's on the other side of the catch fence. Mr. Spring.
Kind of
Wrong side
reminded
of the
me
ball.
quite a bit, Blaine, of the Dennis McCarthy wreck we had last Saturday night in the breast cancer awareness race.
Yeah. Yeah. You play, you know, you're involved with this sim for as many years as we all have been. And it still amazes you that you still haven't seen everything. Cars will get up there and get underneath other cars and get launched into weird spots. It's pretty awesome. The physics model, top notch, never disappoints.
Robert Spring sits on pit road. Noah Wetzel, looks like they are actually servicing that car. They are putting tires on the Best Buy Chevrolet, so he may actually continue on. Garland Oaks, Randy Waugh, as well as Chuck McClure, all getting damage repaired. Same for Greg Lovell. They're all returning to the track. A couple of updates. Looks like Terry Bombard, who was in the middle of that wreck, is out of the race. He was a driver that came into tonight sitting 20th in points, so he's going to be starting to fall a little bit more into must-win territory with 4 races remaining to try and get into a playoff spot unless he can find a huge consistent streak in the final 4 races of the regular season. Also looks like the 77 of Donnie Garrett may have missed the start. He's currently being scored 2 laps down. He'll probably get all but one of those laps back here. I'm not sure if he would be eligible for the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap at this point in time with this caution coming out, but we'll have to wait and see. But he currently is being scored off the lead lap.
I heard that he will be put.
Okay.
So one thing, Rolling Thunder Gaming's been around a long time. Pretty much every single scenario you can think of is probably in that rule book.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll be one of them. It looks like he's up the front. He's going to take it, so.
That's one of the things, I could say this from experience for administration of a series or a league. You always end up having those gray areas in the rule book. To your point, I don't think there's any gray areas in the RTG rule book. They've seen it all, done it all, and they have all the contingency plans in place.
What if this happens? What if that happens? It's happened, and they vote on it, and it's in there. And there Garrett will go for a 2.66 mile drive.
I believe right there he's going around to get one of his 2 laps back. They'll probably add the second lap back manually once they go back green. 7-11 and the 7-12 numerical order here on the front row with Godfrey and Seminara. They'll be the ones to get us back underway with their Chevrolet Camaros, and then a couple more Chevys back in row 2 with Robert Breedlove and Brian Schilling. And then if you haven't had your Chevrolets, there's a couple more back in row 3 with Kelly Causey and Keith Bynum. It's like Mark Paglia going to be the highest starting of the Fords. Doug Hewlick, the highest Toyota, going to restart in 10th position. So surprisingly, we mentioned about the fact that Noah Wetzel, he's back out on the racetrack. Robert Spring, who was in the catch fence, he's actually back out on the racetrack as well, albeit 2 laps down. And I'm seeing quite a bit of left side damage on the 21 of Randy Waugh, but he also is still out there. So for these drivers, it's going to be very unlikely that they're going to be competitive enough to compete for the win here tonight. But it's too early on in the race. If at least the car is still running, you kind of have that obligation to go out there, run as many laps as you can, because maybe more drivers will run into hard luck and you can pick up those spots before the conclusion of the race. Every spot is a point, and at this point in time of the season, every single point matters towards the playoffs.
Well, we've seen that come into play quite a few times last season, so last couple of seasons here. So yeah, you're exactly right about that. Every point is important. So every point, every spot, doing what they can here.
John Godfrey going to bring us down here to the green flag. Godfrey drawing the long straw in qualifying, starting from the pole position, but he's been quietly consistent here this season as well, sitting 7th in the point standings. Only 1 top 10 scored in the first 4 races. Why is he so high up in points? Because he's been able to finish those other 3 races between 12th to 15th. You don't necessarily have to look good on the stat sheets in the top 5s and top 10s for the consistency in the points to come through. Top 15s in all 9 races, you're easily going to point your way into the postseason. As contact made right here at the front, Breedlove end up both Brian Schilling and Bob Seminara.
It's a great job. Both Schilling and Seminara did to hang on to their cars. That could have been a huge wreck at the very front of the field. Like Seminara's got nobody behind him here. Don't know if he wants to. Yeah, he had thoughts of going to that outside, but not enough room.
That stifled both his and Brian Schilling's momentum, moving them to that middle line. Now Seminara going to tuck down to the bottom behind Mike and Gilardi. Schilling still in the middle with help from Elliser. That's Keith Bynum heading that outside line in the 3rd lane with help from Doug Hewlick and Pat McCarskey.
It's like Breedlove's going to go to the lead here. They've got a good run on that outside. Godfrey has no whole lot of help behind him. Now he has the 29 behind him, but Breedlove's clear to the lead. It's Kelly Causey right behind Breedlove.
Bynum still got that momentum up 3rd line as well, as he's going to get 3 wide for 3rd. Now try and pull up alongside of Kelly Causey for 2nd place. We might actually be 3 wide for the lead with Breedlove, Causey, and Bynum this next time into 1.
It's like Breedlove led the lap, but the 63's got a good run on that outside. Got a lot of cars up there.
Trying to count, I believe it's 8 rows of 3 wide right now down the back straightaway. That 3rd line gets the momentum. Bynum potentially clear of both lanes as they entered into 3, but then that shorter way around the racetrack brings Causey and Breedlove right back alongside. We're still knotted up for the top position off of 4.
I don't know how these guys do it like this, run 3 wide the way they do. I'd never like being in the middle 3 wide, and if I was in the middle of a big pack like this, I would be nervous.
The trick
No
is
way
to
I could
just
pull this off.
look to where you want to go. Don't look beside you. Hold your line and go for it. I find when you look around, that's where you sort of end up steering it. The same with real driving, right? Like if you put your eyes in the ditch in the snow, and when you get a little bit slippery or something, you're going to end up in the ditch. Just look to where you want to go, and that's how she works. Holy moly.
Makarski got to the inside of Doug Hewlett.
Wow.
We were 4 wide for a moment. There were still 4.
Yeah.
Saw a car on the apron right there. That was Denny Carroll. Looked like he backed out of that. Did not like what he was seeing. Can't say I blame him
It's still
right
four
now.
wide. Yeah.
Back here after he got forced up to that extreme outside line. He was 4 wide on 2 separate occasions. Now finds a little breathing space here at the tail end of the pack, but he was up as high as 4th position. Now, all of a sudden, in the matter of a lap, he's back outside of the top 25.
Looks like Kelly Causey has gone to the lead when all that was going on. It's like Paglia in second. Ulysses Sandoval, one of the guys we talked about during the pre-race, needing a good run, potentially a win tonight. Running in third. Now he goes to the inside line, trying to pick up more spots. Maybe he might take the lead here.
Both Paglia and Sandoval right around each other in points. Paglia 18th, Sandoval 19th in the standings coming into this evening. Both drivers that have formerly taken part in the playoffs. Both formerly have had multi-time win seasons in their career here in the Talladega Challenge Series. Sandoval most recently last year. Paglia, I believe, was 3 or 4 seasons ago. As that inside line just does not look like it's got the momentum for the moment here for Sandoval. The move for second place, now a couple corners later, finds him back in 6th. There is the 70 of Noah Wetzel getting bypassed right up against the wall there as he realized they were 3 wide in formation in this lead group. So he will fall a lap down to the leaders. Currently would be in the free pass position, however.
Good move, getting up out of everybody's way. Just ride the wall when you can. Wait until you're clear.
56 of Jeffrey Elliott up here, and I'm going to double check on this. I'm pretty sure he started out back in this race.
Yep, he usually does.
39th off the grid. He passed a lot of cars here in a short amount of time, already up inside of the top 10, looking to get into the top 5.
He's no stranger to Talladega, that's for sure.
It's the beauty of restrictor plate racing. Doesn't matter where you start. You could start 39th and be in the top 5 in 3 laps.
Got that Talladega Night sponsorship there on his Chevrolet Camaro. Brand new season of the Shake and Bake series going to be starting up a week from this coming Saturday. You've seen that airing on Flatout Racing Network. As now Keith Bynum takes to the inside with Pat Makarski and Ulysses Sandoval alongside of Josh Metallic right now in the 5th position. Another driver that's kind of been quietly consistent, talking about Josh. Now, last week was maybe the one blemish on his consistent season as he was up and barrel rolling in the catch fence.
Yeah, come on, Josh.
In a wreck last week. Whoa, Makarski!
Oh, what a save.
Wow, everybody. Wow, that's amazing.
Came back right up in front of Bob Seminaire and Robert Breedlove, and they were able to back off, give the space necessary for McCarthy to gather it back up. So I'm currently at 2 cautions that have not had the yellow flag come out so far here.
If this was a hockey game and that was a goalie, that'd have been a glove save and a beauty right there. I mean, man, how do you hang on to that thing?
Yeah, those tires were smoking. He was actually sliding that thing. That was awesome.
It's really difficult to gather a car up when you're coming
Look at
off
Chuck
the corner,
McClure.
specifically there off of turn 4.
Chuck McClure was involved in that first caution, and he's back up into the top 10. I was kind of worried if he had any damage on his car. Doesn't he have a top 10 streak going here in this season?
You would be correct. 4 straight top 10s in these first 4 races. That's why he's the points leader. Add a victory into those 4 starts as well.
I noticed Dante is not here tonight.
And Dante coming into this race 21st in the standings. Dante
I don't see him, right? He's not here. He's pretty regular. I don't see him here tonight.
Yeah, most of the past seasons he's kind of been on a part-time schedule.
Oh, okay.
We're into October. And of course, October being spooky month for Halloween. See the new look there for Rodney Sullins in the 38, the black and orange on his Black Rifle Coffee Chevrolet. Right behind the Tide Ride of Milt Surratt. Brian Rosson, another driver who started out back, much like Jeffrey Elliott, has made his way up here into the top 10. I believe Brian rolled off the grid 40th place last time by, scored in 9th. And now everybody has seemed to kind of settle themselves down. We had that 3 wide, 5, 6 rows deep. We're now double wide, pretty much through the field. A little bit of single file around the mid-pack there. Everybody just kind of getting into a groove. I think we've kind of gotten the early race jitters out, and now we're realizing, all right, the focus before was trying to gain track position. Now we got to start turning our mindset towards pit road.
Do you think they got all that 4 wide racing out of their system?
For now.
Yeah. Elliott on that high side with Wesley pushing.
Now, we did have a mixed bag of who came to pit road, who did not under that first caution back on lap 3. We're going to probably see half the field come to pit road here in the next 3 laps or so. Might have to wait another 2 or 3 laps before we then see most of the other drivers come to pit road. I believe the highest of the drivers running right now that did pit under that caution would be Tim Nofsker in the 4th position. Grant Wesley, Josh Metallic,
under caution
as well. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Big wreck across the start-finish line.
Was also told that something happened to the 197 here a couple of laps ago. Kind of broke up the pack a little bit there, but
Randy Waugh, Cody Lamas, Andrew Miller, last week's winner Joe DeSpirito, Glenn Harris. You mentioned McCarskey, he was in this wreck. For a good half dozen or more drivers sliding across the start finish line there. Bunch of drivers who would have been maybe making preparations in the next lap or 2 to come to pit road. Not going to have to worry about that. I'm almost wondering if the incident with the 197 might have been what we saw, his slide there off of turn 4 that broke the field up. And then what brings the caution out is actually Jeff Crivello kind of drifting up the track there in the trial while getting into Glenn Harris at McCarskey. And then other drivers trying to avoid getting into each other. Spirito and Randy Waugh got into each other. Cody Lamas goes around.
there's also a follow-up wreck. I was just told on the middle of turn 3, I think it was.
Before or after that?
It's a follow-up wreck.
Oh.
You can also add Richard Martin into the drivers. They got a piece of that wreck, though very minimal damage for him. And trying to find that. Oh, it's like maybe. Oh, wow. Speaking of Richard Martin, he's that follow-up wreck actually over in turn 3. Everybody woeing up. I think waiting for the pace car to pick them up. The timing of that caution was quite interesting there. Oh, Martin. I don't know if he downshifted or what, but all of a sudden when he got back to the throttle, the car corrected up the banking and grip flipped.
Oh,
That is a
weird.
very odd looking wreck
Oh
there.
my god, that is the strangest thing. This is not in slow motion, by the way. If anybody's wondering, hey Blaine, why do you have it in slow motion? I don't. That is literally the slowest rollover I've ever seen.
I mean, I've seen drivers, I believe he's in the low gear. I believe he's in first gear. I've seen drivers, when they get back to the throttle going into a corner at a high banked speedway, or in this case, a super speedway, the tires will spin and it will correct the car up the racetrack, up the banking. I've never seen it end up having the counterweight where it then barrel rolls the car over.
That's wild.
Honestly, I think he got that contact with Noah Wetzel, but I think that might have saved his race, because that car was going to barrel roll onto his roof. The contact from Wetzel actually stopped him, kept him only on his side, and brought him back on his wheels.
That's true, yeah. It didn't do the complete. That's so funny, too, especially for a guy like Richard Martin, who's this isn't his first day. That's such an anomaly right there.
And Martin, the last driver to win a championship here in the Talladega Challenge Series without winning a race in that championship season. And it looks like Tim Nofsker, gotta double check, I don't believe he's come to pit road yet. Nope, he has. All right, so he, Wesley, Metallic. So these are drivers, just before that caution came out, that I was going to mention had come to pit road under the first yellow. The reason why they've been able to cycle out here to the front is because when they came down pit road, they took on less fuel. They didn't have to spend as long filling up the tank because they had topped off back under the first yellow. It gained them all this track position over everybody else that had to spend a little bit longer getting those 2 cans of fuel in.
That's a good point, because he did pit the first time around, and then I'm thinking, why did he pit the second time around? But that makes sense, because he knew it would be a shorter stop.
I think it was 2 weeks ago, Tim Nofsker did not make a start. The Bills were playing that night, and subsequently he comes into this race 33rd in points. Nofsker, multiple victories here in this series. As a matter of fact, I believe it was last season, I think he had multiple victories and was up in the of the playoffs. Trying to find victory lane here tonight. Looks like Clint Oaks is going to get the free pass here under this yellow, as well as Noah Wetzel. Garland will get back on the lead lap. Wetzel will get back to 1 lap down. He and Robert Spring going to be the only 2 drivers off the lead lap on this upcoming restart. Wetzel -1, Spring -2.
Is it just me, or is Nofsker and Wesley always running with one another? It just seems like every time we look up, we see the 088, the 88 is right behind him, or vice versa. It's like, maybe it's the numbers. I don't know.
Well, you've also got the 880 of Greg Lovell in here tonight as well, and it always seems like those 3 are in the race together. Yep, inevitably, they always seem to be running around each other. A lot of 0s and a lot of 8s.
Or maybe it's the Mandela effect, and it actually never happened.
True.
That's always possible.
Dun, dun, dun. It is Halloween, after all.
It is.
Take this time, too, to thank our sponsor, Redline Performance Motorsports, and the 38 of Rodney Sellen's Pace. Thanks, guys. You really cool.
Also want to give the announcement here. A lot of hard work been going into the David Cannon Memorial Race, dubbed the Bones 00300. That's going to be taking place this Saturday night. Broadcast will start at 6, qualifying races at 7. Main event race will be immediately following. Going to be a first for Flatout Racing Network. Going to be broadcasting 2 qualifying races simultaneously. I heard last that I believe 45 drivers have signed up and are going to be taking part in those qualifying races. The top 20 from those 2 qualifying races will make up the 40-car field that will battle it out in that special event. So be sure to join us for that. Again, coverage will start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard this Saturday night. Sean Prime has put a lot of hard work into this, a lot of others as well. Looking forward to what's going to be an incredible night in memorial of one of the flagship leaders here of Rolling Thunder Gaming, David Bones Cannon.
How are you broadcasting at the same time 2 different qualifiers?
So it's an interesting little experiment that apparently looks like it is going to work. I wasn't 100% certain at first if it was going to. Fortunately, I have 2 PCs,
Okay.
and one PC will be in one qualifying race, the other PC will be in the other qualifying race, and one PC
what?
will be feeding their feed to my other PC.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I know where you're
it's,
going. You're doing a split
A
screen.
lot of PCs.
it's a lot of juggling of plates, if you will.
Is
But
it a split screen or is it 2 separate
it
streams?
is going to be split screen, yeah.
Oh, wow. So you'll be watching one screen, but 2 different qualifiers.
Correct.
That's cool.
First time ever, and I'm just waiting for something to go wrong. The
Yeah.
tests so far have been perfect. But
Hey, you haven't gone
hoping
live
I'm not
yet.
pressing
You
my
wait.
luck.
Yeah. Everything will run perfect forever until you go live. Then you'll fix it and it'll be fine.
That's right.
It's like
And I
Tim
just got-
Knopfsker has take the lead here.
I actually just got notified in our chat as well from Sean Prime. The last count, 51 drivers registered
Wow.
for the Bones 00300. So how about that?
Fantastic.
From-
That is
Tremendous
a
turnout.
lot of people in that race. That is amazing.
That's going to be a hard one to qualify for because I know here we're watching season 66. So like there's a certain amount of, I think it's like the top 30 or the top 25 that are guaranteed to be able to start. But in a race like that, there's no guarantees you're in there. Everybody's going to have to qualify for that race.
And it's interesting, too, because I was actually talking with Sean a couple of days ago, and he said that was the type of thing that David Cannon loved, was the qualifying races to get into the main event. He enjoyed the main event racing, but the qualifier races, the pressure of having to qualify your way in, he loved that concept. And you bring up the point there, Blaine. There are drivers that we see here tonight that will be obviously participating on Saturday that we see week after week, season after season. They are really good. They are borderline professional super speedway racers here on Enter 2003. But super speedway racing takes just as much luck as it does skill. There are possibilities that a number of big name drivers may miss out on making it into the main event race on Saturday night. The unpredictability, I think, is a very interesting concept here, and maybe puts a little bit of added pressure on all these drivers that are going to be taking the green flag in their respective qualifiers on Saturday night.
Because I'm wondering, like you said, if there's 50 plus people coming into this thing, there has to be people who don't make it.
Yes.
And if you've got position 1 all the way down to position 50, and there's literally 0.04 of a second difference between all of them, you could have guys, well, like Knopfsker running in first right now. Maybe he didn't make it. Maybe he just touched that yellow line just enough and lost.
Rick! USC Sandoval right in the middle of the pack. This is in the corner. This is going to be a massive one. Despirito and Seminara are up and over. There's at least a dozen drivers littering the infield grass of 1 and 2.
Here, just everybody's spinning out just off screen, so we're backing up here. Take a look at it.
First car I saw out of shape was Ulysses Sandoval in the 096. Not sure if he gets some help here or not. He was running around the 11th spot.
A little bit of a tap there from Seminara, it looked like.
Yeah, but did he get loose?
It looked like it.
Going into turn 1, it was like that car went into a slide.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you see it right there, a little bit out of shape. And
I'm not sure if that was in reaction of checking up for Milt Surratt ahead of him, but certainly scrubs off speed and very quickly brings Seminara into his back
did
bumper.
Did he get into the 80?
I don't think so.
Either way, it looked like just a big chain reaction deal right there, and Seminara getting upside down a little bit there. I think the 24 Despirito did the same.
Johnny Garrett was in it. I saw Brian Schilling, another driver inside of the top 5 in points. He was in the middle of that wreck. Greg Lovell, Bernie Mobbs, Bob Dixon, Billy Elliser, And Craig Hagley might have also gotten a piece of this wreck. Pretty much anybody back behind this had a pretty good chance of getting a small piece. Very difficult to figure out where a car is going to slide when it's a wreck in the center of the corner.
Just showing a statistics card there for the 24 Despirito. Since he won last week, he actually gained 11 spots on the current points standings from that win. That's what we call leapfrogging your way
Absolutely. That's what I was saying. I mean, 4 races in, people might think, all right, well, if you end up winning, you'll maybe move up a spot or two. Well, we might get into that kind of a scenario when we eventually get to race 8, race 9, those final regular season races, but the points are still super, super close. Looks like Grant Wesley's going to win the battle off of pit lane over Tim Nofsker. Rawson, Paglia, Metallic. Look like they're going to be the top 5 leaving pit lane. 3 wide back there towards the mid-pack, leaving the commitment line. I don't think anybody rolled the dice and stayed out here at this point, with the exception of Robert Breedlove and Denny Carroll. Now, I don't know if they're planning on staying out the entirety of this caution period, if they're going to come down pit road here around the 1 to green. For most of the drivers that came down pit road here, we would have been past the window the drivers would have had to pit had we gone green from the start. Coming down pit road here and topping off the fuel tank doesn't necessarily put you in any type of window towards the end yet. We'd have to get more towards, I believe, lap 32, 33 to be able to be in a scenario like that.
Love plugging these exports into Score 4 to get all this kind of cool stuff here. Donnie Garrett, the 77, has started all 4 races this season, has also completed every single lap this season for a total of 264 laps at 702 miles. 1 top 10 finish. Race number 3, finished in second. Race number 4, I may have forgotten to change that number. No, that's wrong. Race number 4, he qualified 35th and finished 20th. Currently 12th in points with 108. That's 53 off the lead. That's a lot of numbers. You're welcome.
And obviously, still a long ways to go in this regular season, but you might feel a little bit of pressure coming into this race in the position Donnie Garrett is in, which is 12th in the standings. We have guaranteed 12 drivers at least will battle for the championship this season, regardless of if they've won or not. If you're in the top 12 in points when the checkered flag waves at the conclusion of race 9, you have pointed your way into the postseason. Now, if you have a victory and you are 13th through 20th in points, you get in through one of the proverbial wildcard spots. We've seen previous seasons where we've had as many as 13, 14 drivers battle for the championship. But when you come into a race like Donnie Garrett is right now, 12th in the standings, one of the things in your mind is, I want to be above this cut line. Second thing in your mind is, I want to have a nice cushion between me and this cut line. So, even though we're only 5 races in, and after tonight there will still be 4 races to go before we put that playoff grid together, there could be a little bit of added pressure for the driver of the 77 this evening.
How exactly do the playoffs work? Is it like a knockout round? Oh, it looks like Noah's engine finally let go, yeah.
Yeah, there was discussion about that. Not sure if he blew up or not, but that's been confirmed now as we see black smoke coming out of the back of that car.
Yeah, we'll have to hope that he throws in the clutch here. They may end up having a caution come back out here for debris. Hopefully not, as the lights are currently out. But back to your point there, your question, Blaine, it is indeed a knockout playoff system. The first 2 races, if we end up have the original 12, we would then, after 2 races, put it down to 8 remaining drivers. After 2 races, then we would be down to our final 4. And it used to be that it was a one-and-done race to determine the champion between the final four, but about 4 seasons ago, it was implemented a 2-race final round. So we've ended up seeing the championship have to be won more so on consistency than on better finishing position in just one race. So 2-2-2 in terms of the final 6 playoff races of the season.
That's a good idea.
There's supposed to be a Final 4 or a Final 8, but last season didn't we have like a Final 9 and a Final 5?
There was. You're right. We had a 3-way tie for 8th position at the end of the round of 12, and then we ended up having a tie for 4th position going into the Final 4. So yeah, we actually didn't adhere to the original qualifications. We had to add in a couple of others there.
That's why we talk about every point being important. So I mean, no better case for it than right there.
Yeah.
It's like Denny Carroll is going to get the lead here on this restart. Playing a little bit of field strategy like you were talking about during the question, Seth. And that's kind of what Denny Carroll, his first victory here a couple of weeks ago.
It really is. And you kind of consider, is it a little too early to be playing these type of field strategy games for Denny Carroll? Well, he's already got the victory, so why not do something a little bit unorthodox? Maybe see if you can get your second victory on the season. A victory gives you bonus points. That'd be 5 extra bonus points he would have towards the postseason. So, yeah, you always have that little bit of freedom if you have that victory early on the season. And Denny Carroll kind of utilizing that freedom here in this race tonight. Robert Breedlove playing the same strategy with him as well. So those two drivers, they're going to find themselves about 2 to 3 laps shorter on fuel than everybody else.
They've already got 3 lanes going here. Jessica Loreley leading the outside line. She's got help from, looks like the other 17 cars.
Yeah.
McClure, Brian Schilling behind him. So
Bernie Mobbs in the 31 also up in that outside line, 4th car. And that Smucker's Jam Chevrolet, and he, if I'm not mistaken, was actually involved in that
Yellow
last
flag.
wreck over here in the middle of 1 and 2. So
caution is out again. What for?
I
The 70
believe
off
the 70
the pace.
stopped on the track.
Or stop, should say. Yeah, that. Surprised that car was still running. We saw that car up in smoke.
Yeah, it just comes to a full stop down here in the center of 3 and 4. And I believe that is what was out the caution. I'm not certain if it was the caution coming out for the stopping or if it was a debris caution, but a yellow flag nonetheless.
Sounds like the 70 was told to pull off the racetrack when he went up in smoke, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, he went the whole back straightaway there. He was all the way over in turn 3 before that car finally halted.
Not sure why you'd stay out under that condition, but
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was under the yellow that happened.
Yep.
I thought he would have gone into the pits before the green flag.
Well, even if you are on the back straightaway, we've seen wrecks on the back straightaway where a car spins down below the yellow line. It doesn't bring out a caution. I think that he blew up, correct me if I'm wrong, off the exit of turn 2. So he would have been able to go right down, maybe right down to the inside wall there in the back straightaway, retire the car out of the race. And I doubt that we would have ended up extending the yellow flag and wouldn't have had this caution here.
Yeah. Right when the car almost comes to a stop is when the yellow lights come on. So
I would not be surprised to see Denny Carroll, Robert Breedlove come to pit road now. I believe if everybody comes to pit road, they should be able to make it the rest of the way on just one more pit stop now. And yeah, everybody making their way down pit lane. Few of them going to stay out, though. Keith Bynum with a late move back onto the racetrack. Jeffrey Elliott also staying out. I believe right now, if my calculations are correct, drivers that stay out would find themselves about a lap and a half to 2 laps short. But maybe Bynum and Elliott are of the thought process that they could save a good portion of that here under these pacing laps and maybe catch some other timely yellows before everybody would have to make that final trip to pit road.
It's like 2 other cars stayed out with him there. The 712 of Bob Seminara, and I can't say what that car is in front of him.
It's Greg Lovell in the 880.
Okay.
I believe for Bob Seminara, got a lot of damage. We saw him up and over through the center of 3 and 4. I think you're going to see him stay out an extra lap here and try and see if he can get a bonus point for a lap led. He's yet to lead here tonight. A lot of times when drivers end up getting involved in wrecks, they know that they're going to be off the pace. They try and find an opportunity under a caution period to get a lap led bonus point, knowing that it probably is going to be the only lap they'll lead during the course of the evening. So I think for Seminara, he's hoping that Bynum and Elliott and Lovell are going to be coming to pit road here on this next lap, so that way he can lead the upcoming time that they cross the stripe.
Got absolutely nothing to lose at that point, so yeah, why not try it?
This caution was very timely for Robert Spring, as he's going to get the luck dog, and it will put him back on the lead lap. He was as many as 2 laps down after he had to call a tow back to pit road, involved in the first caution, and was stuck up in the catch fence in the entrance of turn 1. I was actually watching him a couple of restarts ago also. That car is not far enough off the pace that it can't stay in the draft. Now, he's in the scenario of aero damage, which means that he's going to have somebody behind pushing him to be able to stay up in the lead pack. However, that car's not far enough off the pace that he's going to necessarily still finish this race outside of the top 30. He's got a shot of still maybe being able to bring it home inside of the top 20 if circumstances work out his way. And the one key thing for him is the engine is still going. We've seen so many times the driver gets caught up in the catch fence and the engine's toast.
We'll be back here at Talladega next week on Tuesday. Tarnation TV, me, Blaine Donlin, and Rod Weston with the Maverick Cup Series. It's a whole bunch of Talladega going on now. That's where I know Noah Wetzel from. He races over there with Maverick. So I'm curious. He came out here maybe get some Talladega practice before going back on the road with Maverick next week. They had an off week this week. They didn't race this Tuesday, but Talladega, we will be there. And then, of course, next Thursday, I'll be running the show, and Seth Cole and somebody will be doing, because it was supposed to be Norman. It was supposed to be Michael Norman tonight, was it not?
Yeah, it was. He got called into work, and I was on standby, so
yeah,
glad to step in. And
Kyle got the hot tag.
Yep. Forgot to mention, too, we're running RTG version 4 here tonight, which features the widened pit lane. Thanks, John Godfrey. They're putting it to use, especially we've seen a few races this year, some pretty gnarly green flag stops, and they've definitely been using that wider pit road. So I think this version might catch on. It might find its way into other leagues.
It definitely gives drivers a little bit more comfort when they're coming to pit road, because it used to be such a narrow entry to pit lane, and with different drivers having different braking zones, so many drivers utilizing the art of hot pitting, made things very, very congested coming onto pit lane. So now a little bit more spacious, a little bit more room to maneuver for these drivers, and who knows, we may end up seeing that wideness of pit road tested if we end up running green the rest of the way, because we will have to make one more pit stop, and maybe it'll take place under green.
Are they trying to go the Pontiac route here? Wider is better?
Yeah.
Always interesting to see the reason for drivers retiring. Of course, Bombard, Wetzel, and Seminara have all retired from the race. It says Wetzel retired because of an engine ignition. I don't think it was an engine ignition, judging from all that smoke.
I don't think so
I
either.
think it was that crash that he was in, and he took about 12 great big wallops, and the motor just let go. Haven't used the word wallop in a while, so.
I don't know if you've ever had this happen. I've only had it happen once for a reason for retirement, and that was fire. I've never seen it all but one time.
Fire?
Yep.
I've never seen that.
That was only one time I saw it happen. I even went back and watched the replay to try and see if there was like any indication of something that would look like a fire.
Huh.
Nothing like that. And it's like, I've never seen that reason for retirement before.
Yeah, I've
I don't
seen
think
camshaft,
I've ever-
wheel damage, like
Tire and yeah.
fire. That's
Yep.
awesome.
I don't even think I've ever seen that in an offline race for cause of a retirement. So in an online race, that's even more surprising.
Yeah, I did not know that existed.
So you think an engine failure is rare and random? I guess a fire is even more rare, because I've been playing this thing for 20-something, 23 years or whatever it is, and I've never seen the word fire come up in that column. Jeffrey Elliott leading this thing.
And we're getting dicey here. Jeffrey Elliott made a top-to-bottom move to get the lead. Chuck from bottom to top in front of Grant Wesley. There's a lot of moving parts and pieces just up here inside of the top 10. Drivers jockeying for position as we're double wide all the way back through the field.
It looked like Jeff wanted to keep McClure behind him. McClure bailed on him twice, I think.
Well, again, I mean, you look at the situation for a Chuck McClure or Grant Wesley. Again, drivers that have already gone to victory lane this season. Well, we talked about the freedom of doing something different when Denny Carroll was playing the strategy. You've also got the freedom to be a little bit more aggressive. Make those gutsy, risky moves here, because if it works out, you may end up finding yourself back in victory lane and racking up some more bonus points, padding those stats for season 66. If it doesn't work out, well, you have the victory. You know you're still going playoff racing. The one thing I would say, though, that McClure and Wesley and Carroll, these former winners, do have to worry about is tonight, as we mentioned, is the first night of the bracket challenge. And so there is somebody in the field that you are racing, you are looking to finish ahead of to be able to advance in that tournament.
Oh, jeez, I forgot all about that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on at Rolling Thunder Gaming.
There's always something to race for in this series, it seems like. Even if you're not in contention for a championship, if you're not running the full schedule, you have a regular race to win, and there's, like you mentioned, the bracket challenge. So there's always some, always a lot of incentive in this series.
That's the beauty of RTG as a whole, because on Monday nights and Wednesday nights, when they have their Cup Series and their Air 88 Series, they have what's called the Challenger Series. Drivers that normally run mid-pack, they can qualify for that, and they end up getting victories as well and end up winning there's a championship on the line in that regard. Basically, the Challenger Series, if you will, for Thursday nights is this bracket challenge. Again, it gives everybody an opportunity to race for something.
Yeah, like a guy like me, I could come out here and drive with these guys and probably never win the actual race, but there's all that other stuff in behind the scenes that you could be focusing on, which is a lot of fun. Something for everybody.
So there are 32 drivers in the bracket challenge, and I won't go down all of them right now, but what I can state is with those drivers you listed out of the race there, Blaine, Terry Bombard, and Bob Seminara, not going to reach the conclusion. That means that in their respective matchups, Donnie Garrett will be moving on to the next round. He was against Seminara tonight. Mike Mangialardi will be moving on to the next round. He was against Terry Bombard in their first matchup.
Oh, cool. Okay. Do they... Oh, no, they finish in front of them, even if they do end up getting into an accident.
Right.
So, yeah.
So it's an automatic advancement for those two.
Mangialardi currently running in 32nd. Back there behind Garland Oaks.
An interesting thing, too, is as well, in the case of Bombard and Seminara, they're not out of winning the championship. We have the winner side of the bracket. Those that get eliminated this week fall to the loser side of the bracket, which also happens simultaneously with the winner's side, we end up eventually having a champion of the loser's side of the bracket that takes on the champion of the winner's side of the bracket in either one or two final races. And that's how we determine a champion. So even those that get eliminated during the course of the weeks, they still get a second chance the following week to advance and still take the championship.
It's like the first 7 or 8 cars are single file. First side-by-side battle here. It looks like it's for the 9th position that we're looking at right here with Jeffrey Elliott.
Rick Hagley in that Davey Allison throwback, or Ricky Rudd throwback. Jumping up to the outside line with Jeffrey Elliott, trying to make something happen. We're 3 wide now with Breedlove caught in the middle. And that's doing no favors to these drivers here. It's helping that group ahead, that's single file.
That high line here will work. This track is a 3-lane track, but we need 5 or 6 guys up there to make that line move. Nobody wants to do it.
Kelly Causey working his way back forward after he was out in front for a portion of this race. Led 9 laps in the early going. Cody Lamas looking like he's getting a little brave here. Working his way up into the top 15. Behind Tim Nosker, Jessica Loralee pushing him.
Cody moving to the front. That's a nice change to see there. That we give him such a hard time about how he runs in this series.
He'd be disappointed if we didn't give him a hard time.
Exactly.
Looks like we've got a total of 34 drivers up in this lead pack. Jeff Crivello, the last of those. Got some stragglers back there, drivers that have gotten some damage during the course of our previous 4 cautions. Well, I should say 3 cautions that were multi-car wrecks. One was the engine failure of the 70 on the back straightaway, but Bob Dixon, Mike Mangialardi, Pat McCarthy, Glenn Harris, Robert Spring, all back. A couple have lost the draft, a few of them in danger of losing the draft. Look at some of these drivers up here that we've talked about that have had good starts to the season or are looking to get their season going. Brian Rawson currently in the 3rd spot. Saw him a few seasons ago be a multi-time winner, a driver that usually likes to start at the back, work his way forward. Coming into tonight, looking for his first top 10 in the season, 25th in points. Right behind him, Rodney Sullins. Rodney just outside the top 10 in points, 11th in the standings, 53 points back. And then Brian Schilling in that Ford car. I was kind of looking at when we went back green, we are right around on the number where these drivers can come to pit road and they would have to kind of decide, do I want to go with a 1.5 cans of fuel or 2 cans of fuel? We're like right on the number where they probably would have to come to pit road around 16 laps to go. Are you willing to run the risk of maybe being half a lap to a full lap short on gas, save that extra time on pit road, or do you go for absolute certain that you can make it the rest of the way, spend that extra time on pit road and fill it up with the 2 cans?
Most of these teams right now, 7 to 8 laps projected, I was just told, so.
That put us around lap 53 to 55 when they'd have to start thinking about it.
Just went to the pits and spun out on pit road. Jeffrey Elliott's down there too.
So Jeffrey Elliott stayed out under that last caution, didn't he?
Yes, with Bynum. Fortunately for Spring, he went for a full spinorama out there, so that's not going to be good for track position, especially under green flag conditions.
He had just gone a lap down right before coming down to pit road, I noticed, and guess that damage is too much for his car to keep up in the draft, as we have guys coming down pit road right now.
This is interesting. This is a little bit earlier than projected. Drivers coming down pit road here right when the window opens, make it the rest of the way, including McClure, Schilling, Paglia, Loreley, Nofsker, Mangialardi. The only thing I could think is they're of the assumption that it's safer to come down pit road with a smaller amount of race cars now rather than when the entire horde decides to come down pit road altogether later on.
Because like you were saying, now we're in the point where if you come in and just get all the gas you can, you'll make it to the end.
Yeah.
So we could literally see 7, 8, 9, 10 different kind of pit strategies right now. There's another group coming in.
As soon as that window opens up, everyone's taking advantage of it. Everybody locking them up here.
Excellent pit jobs. Wow, that's awesome.
Man, Ulysses Sandoval kind of remind me of Tim Nofsker right down there against that inside wall. Nofsker does that a lot. I don't know how he makes it onto pit road safely, but he does.
I'm always afraid somebody's gonna slam into it.
Me too. I mean, that wall's at an angle. If you hit it, you're shooting out into traffic. But now is always that tenterhooks moment of, did I overstep just a little bit trying to hot pit? Am I going to get hit with a black flag? Right now, things are trending green. If we end up not having a yellow come out from now to the finish and you get hit with a penalty, not going to be any opportunity for you to get all that track position back.
Lamas goes around, entering the pits. Florida Panthers will lose the Stanley Cup next year, hopefully. He is not having a good time.
I heard you and he had a little back and forth after a Maverick race there where you had a little jab at the Panthers and he made sure to jump in and defend them.
Yeah, they beat the Oilers the last 2 years for the Stanley Cup. So. Edmonton, almost. He is not going to be able to get left side service on that car.
He was having a difficult time getting that car turned around.
Yeah.
That's one of the tough things there, too. I mean, Cody is one of those drivers, there's a lot of them that like to leave the server before we end up having the qualifying kicked forward for the random qualifying draw, which guarantees you starting at the rear of the field. While that's great, it also means you're going to have a pit stall right there near the entry of pit lane. So while a lot of other drivers behind you are still coming in at a high rate of speed because their pit stalls are further down pit road, you're hard on the brakes to slow down to get into the entry of your stall, and I think that might be why Cody got spun around.
Yeah, because when you're in those back spots, especially in a full field, the 55-mile-an-hour commitment line doesn't really apply. You need to be going way slower than that to be able to hit your pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, I believe most drivers usually, when they're hot pitting and they have those further down pit stalls, they can come in, cross that commitment line around 70 miles per hour. If you're doing that in the case of Cody, you're not going to get that thing worked down in time to get into your stall, so it's not an option.
Showing this pack right here, Brian Schilling, 6th position. Say Grant Leslie in 5th, so 4 cars still haven't pitted, it looks like. Who is that?
This group right here with Craig Hagley,
That's
Andrew Miller,
pack,
Donnie
yeah.
Garrett, like Bob Dixon, Glenn Harris, who have lost touch with this pack, also still to come in. Bob Dixon hasn't come to pit road yet. Usually the benchmark driver
Here they come.
to start determining pit stops, but looks like he's one of the few that's deciding to run long here as this top trio all hit pit road together.
The 47, Andrew Miller, top dragster broadcaster, or fellow broadcaster there. The Top Dragster Network on the YouTube machine. He does a lot of broadcasting for the Hobo Racing Series.
Does indeed. I believe this is his first official start of the season. I believe he was here a previous night to race, but ended up getting eliminated in knockout qualifying, ended up getting a provisional.
So these were your 1, 2, 3. Here comes that main pack.
That main pack is doing something that, Kyle, I don't think we've seen for a while. They used to do this a lot. We talk about that middle line being the preferred lane, and we used to see in the past where there was enough space between those white hash marks for you to be able to race side by side, and both lanes could get the benefit of that momentum in the middle. They're doing that right now.
Yeah, there's really doesn't look like there's really enough space for another lane to open right now as close as they're racing. Of course, this is a much smaller pack thanks to the green flag pit stops too. But it is starting to form back up, I'm noticing.
Like we got a pack of roughly about 22 drivers in this lead group. Correction, make it 19.
Oh,
It's Glenn
Carnick.
Harris in the grass, and car's gonna loop around. Can he get it turned back the right direction?
He's trying. Looks like
The
he's going to
oncoming
be okay.
traffic. Yeah, I think we're gonna be good.
Well, the rest of the field's going to be okay. Harris, not necessarily there. But oh boy, looks like was that Breedlove having a little bit of a connection issue there a little bit.
And he's in a 3 wide situation right now with Brian Rawson and Jessica Loralee, so not the time you want to be having that side to side.
After a great green flag pit cycle, these guys are still clumped together like this. It's pretty wild, eh? But we got about 19 cars, yeah.
Breedlove's going to drop to the back here. That time
Yeah.
his car completely disappeared. But yeah, that's the cool thing, right? Because you can end up having 3 or 4 packs come to pit road. Initially, you think, okay, they're all going to be spread out once everything cycles around. Wait, no. Doesn't matter if they all came down in different laps. They still all managed to find each other when all is said and done.
Yeah,
But
a lot of times this late in the race, we'll have 5-6 cars in a pack, but no, we've got about 3 dozen.
That's the thing, though. Any little mistake that you might make under caution, like say you overshoot your pit stop by a couple of feet, you got to back up. Not a big deal. There's a pace car out there holding everybody back. That happens under green flag. You could lose your buddies entirely by just making a 2-second mistake on pit road. Could mean hundreds of feet on the track. Oh, they're getting tight down there on the bottom line. Yikes.
John Godfrey out of line there.
Oh,
another one.
Causey! And there they go! Causey is up and over. Loralee is involved. And another corner wreck as Carroll flies in. Garrett is collected, and we're still wrecking off of 4. Breedlove, Bynum, late hit for Hewlick. Greg Lovell as well. Look out. I believe we're in the span of race back. We're still wrecking down here towards the entry of pit road. Mobs and Llamas got together and spun down to the inside wall.
The race back situation, Schilling was the one that made it.
And remember, we said the trend the last couple of weeks has been who can be that control car on the last restart of the night. This could be a good sign if you're the driver of that Kodak Film Chevrolet and Brian Schilling. Just looking back at that wreck, Causey was the first driver I saw kind of get out of shape on that outside line. I don't know if this had anything to do in reaction to what happened to John Godfrey on the back straightaway, which I believe was bumper grab between himself and Joe DeSpirito. Oh, I believe a bump from Ulysses Sandoval going into the corner is what gets Kelly Causey out of shape.
See, and then John got out of it.
Yep.
So he saved it.
Oh, wow. Causey and Garrett's cars actually morphed together.
I saw that. Yeah, they hooked together the front wheels. Should check that out a little closer, actually. That's kind of neat when that happens.
And there were some late hits there as well. Denny Carroll got spun, and he slid up into Jessica Loralee. Keith Bynum, who went around off of turn 4, he got a late hit from Doug Hewlick. Just to put into perspective, Kelly Causey was running up inside of the top 10 when that incident started. Pat McCarsky and Denny Carroll, who were involved in this wreck, they were the tail end cars of this lead pack. So that just shows you just how far back the contact went of drivers involved in this. So the follow-up wreck afterwards, I believe, was Greg Lovell trying to get to the inside of Bernie Mobbs. They're going to make contact, which then sends Lovell across the bump Bynum. That shoots Robert Breedlove up into the wall. And it's actually Breedlove who gets the late hit, gets T-boned by Doug Hulick. So another 4 drivers right there get collected up. And then further up towards the entrance of pit lane,
Yeah, the 31 got
Mobbs
caught up in a couple different on there.
Yeah, he got clipped at the last minute. That directed him down to the inside wall there. Cody Lama. So I'm not exactly sure what happened to him. He got onto the brakes, and it just spun him around. I think he brushes the wall off. No, he doesn't brush the wall before. He avoids Lovell, avoids Bynum, and then just slams on the brakes there. I think maybe in reaction to seeing Bernie Mobbs coming back up the track, and it just snaps the car around. So I thought those two had made contact with each other. Turns out that actually wasn't the case.
The dogs look like Lamas and McCarsky.
We'll put them both back on the lead laps. We'll have 34, make that 33 drivers on the lead lap as Jeffrey Elliott has retired out of the race. He will join Crivello, Seminara, Wetzel, and Bombard behind the wall. And it's going to be a 6-lap shootout to decide it here tonight. It's not the first time, probably not going to be the last time this season. We've ended up having ourselves a single-lap shootout. However, the last 2 races when we've had that, we have finished the race under green. They've been back to the white. Let's see if they're able to do it again here this evening.
The 56 retired, but I'm not seeing why. He didn't come into contact with anybody.
Not sure.
Yeah, he just
Was he involved in that wreck?
no.
I don't believe so.
He got service. I'm just in the replay mode here looking. He got full service on the car. And that's it. He retired. Maybe the pizza guy showed up. He's like, oh, darn. I ordered that pizza. I wouldn't even pit and retire. I would just hit Alt F4, shut the computer off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gone. Pizza's here. I'm leaving. Alt F4, hard quit. See you later. Sorry, guys.
It's interesting just looking real quickly here. You know, we've had pretty much a race dominator the last couple of weeks in terms of laps led. Hasn't really been the case here tonight. Chuck McClure is the only driver that's led double-digit laps at 10.
That's a good
Then
point.
you've got 5 laps led by John Godfrey, 5 laps led by Denny Carroll, 9 by Kelly Causey, 4 by Grant Wesley. Schilling's led 4, about to lead his 5th. So it's kind of been a lot of contenders that have been up front here so far here this evening.
And the race went.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
no! Got a wreck in the back. Graham, I make that Garland Oaks. He was out of shape, bounced off the wall, back down into Denny Carroll.
We are in race back.
We are indeed. And I think we are going to be able to get ourselves a restart here as well. Jessica Lorley and Donnie Garrett were also swept up in that incident here as Schilling trying to control the lanes. McClure, if he could get clear of Wesley, would he cross to the inside here?
Yeah,
I don't think he's got the option.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to stick with Schilling. Yep.
Schilling leads him back. I have to see. I don't know if there'd be enough laps for a green-white checker. We might be looking at a one-lap shootout here.
They're still using the EXE that they started using
Yes,
last
I was
season.
just going to bring up, if this had been a couple seasons ago when they didn't have that EXE, with us having lap cars, the race would have been over at this point, but we may be able to get back green.
Oh, they run a different executable on the surface side?
Yes, so they implemented this last season, this new EXE that allows them to be able to shorten or extend caution periods at will, and it's made a lot of these caution periods shorter, and especially near the end of the race has given us an opportunity to be able to finish a number of these races under green flag.
Hagley shoots out to the right, and so does Garrett. Garrett is actually is that Garrett? Or who is that back there?
I think somebody missed a gear on this restart.
It's Garland Oaks. Major stack up. Yeah, he had to make that move to avoid contact, but ended up getting bumped
like
as well.
2 or 3 drivers that looked like they missed a gear. Hewlick was slow on the start. Craig Hagley jumped up to the outside line like he had missed a gear. They all stacked up there behind the outside line. I think there might have been some, as Joey Logano would coin it, okie dokie going on between the 4 and the 17. I think the 17 purposely did not get a good launch so the 4 could get up in front of him, and that checked everybody behind him up. Either that or everybody was anticipating the timing of the green flag. We've seen that during the course of the season as well.
Whatever it was an ugly-looking restart. And
Lights are off. So that seems early, right?
Yeah, so it looks like basically they opened up pit road one time for everybody to come down that wanted to take service, repair, or damage. Have the lights out, so we're going to get ourselves like a green-white checkered here.
That's a good option to have late in the race like that because we have lap down cars, so we should be going a couple more, so that's cool.
Glenn Harris and Robert Spring would have been the free pass cars. I'm not sure if they're going to have them go around, if they'll just add their laps back. I mean, they would end up finishing this race a lap down regardless because they're both -2. It's not going to make much of a difference in the export. Whoever finishes ahead of who is going to end up getting 34th. The other driver is going to get 35th. So I'm not sure if they're going to really put a whole lot of emphasis in making sure those drivers get their laps back here going around. They may add them back manually when we go back green, but I think the main emphasis here is trying to make sure that we end up going back green with at least a handful of laps rather than a one-lap shootout. Look at the names we've got up here. All still looking for their first win on the season. Schilling, Rawson, Metallic, Sullins, Godfrey trying to go coast to coast tonight. Pole to win. Paglia, Surratt, Nosker, Bobby Farrell's up here. Farrell, prior to that caution coming out, Farrell was in danger of losing the lead. He was the last driver in the group, and he had lost touch. He had lost the draft. He's up here with a shot of a top 10, a top 5. Who knows? If the seas part, he could be the one in victory lane.
boy, Schilling got quite a shot there from the 6 car. Really took off on that restart.
Like, again, everybody was trying to anticipate when the green was going to fly. A lot of shoving in both lanes.
Could be too good of a restart.
Maybe.
Next flag would end the race. Well, checkered flag ends the race, but race back, it's fun.
Look at this. Grant Wesley going to jump up to the outside line there. Got help. Metallic, Godfrey, Paglia.
They're a bit more organized on that outside than they are on the bottom. See Schilling and McClure hooked up together, but Wesley with a lot of momentum this time. But Schilling slamming the door.
Schilling slammed the door so hard he thought he was going to get hit. I think he moved out of the way.
Chipped to the outside with no help.
Oh, man.
Wesley now the leader, 2 laps to go.
2 former winners on the season, leading the 2 respective lines. Ooh, contact mid-pack. Milt Surratt up the track. May have brushed the wall, but hangs on to it. Still green at this point. They're very disorganized from about 11th place on back. They got to start getting themselves lined up here if they're going to try and make a charge at the top 10.
Here comes McClure on the brum help with the Rawson in the 6.
It's only about 11-12 cars in this lead group. I don't know if forming a third line is a viable option. Don't know if you can generate enough energy, and if you can, who's going to be that first driver to step out? White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. McClure, Wesley both looking for their second wins in the season. Wreck up into the wall goes Godfrey and Sullins, but we're still racing back.
Metallic just lost his pushers. Look at that
and
bottom
now Grant
line.
Wesley has lost the help as well. Only Metallic there to aid him. McClure is going to get pushed clear for the lead. Rawson clear into second. Paglia trying to get clear for third. Can Rawson try and make a move here on McClure? He's going to go to the top.
Gonna try it again, or can he? I don't think so.
Don't think he's got enough momentum. And he's too far ahead. Oh, here we go. Late move here, but not enough time. Paglia jumped up. Rawson couldn't get McClure. McClure is going to pull a 2 for the first multi-time winner of season 66.
And he was also in that very first.
Yes, he was.
We've seen him do that before, too.
McClure came into this race as the overall points leader. He will extend that points lead as the driver that came into tonight's race second, 3 points back. Denny Carroll going to finish way back in the running order, 32nd place. So McClure is going to have quite a bit of breathing space here going into next week's race as we now enter into the home stretch of the regular season. Brian Rawson pulling up alongside there.
Brian Rawson out.
Big start to the season there for Chuck McClure, and the top 10 streak remains intact. I think he's trying to pull a Brian Schilling maybe? Finish top 10 in all the regular season races?
Very well could. Saw that 2 seasons ago.
McClure came into this race already locked into the postseason, winning the first race of season 66. And now just going to continue to stack up those bonus points for when the playoffs are reformatted. Becoming the first multi-time winner in season 66. Brian Rawson's going to bring it home in second place, his best finish so far this season. Same for Mark Paglia in third. Nofsker is going to get fourth, and Grant Wesley is going to complete your top 5. Bunch of drivers got collected up in that wreck on the final lap. A couple of drivers that were really looking like they were in good shape to finish well. Godfrey and Rodney Sullins in particular. They'll finish 24th and 27th. Godfrey came into this race top 10 in points. Sullins just outside of the top 10. Talked about how drivers, they'll be able to leapfrog through the points. There's going to be drivers like those 2 I just mentioned. They're going to drop in the point standings after finishes certainly not indicative of how good they were running in the closing stages of this race. the drivers that bring it home on the podium here this evening. We were going to get a hold of Mark Pagley. It looks like, well, actually, never mind. I was going to say he was currently speaking with somebody, but it looks like he is now available. So let's dial up the driver of that number 28 car. Hey, Mark, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. I'm relinquishing my position third to Tim because I wrecked somebody. So, Tim Nosker, you need to call him up.
Oh, okay. 10-4. All right, we'll see then if we can get a hold of Tim Nofsker. Looks like there's going to be a post-race EOL there for Paglia. So Nofsker, who on your scoring is going to be showing as fourth, is going to be third place. So let's get a hold of him. Hey, Tim, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got us?
Yeah, guys, what's up?
Hey, well, we just heard that you're the podium finisher here tonight in third position. Wild race here this evening. We've ended up seeing some 3-lap shootouts, 4-lap shootouts, 5-lap shootouts here this season, but it came down to a green-white checkered here tonight. Saw a lot of fuel strategy leading up to that point, but it seemed like particularly this restart this evening, it was very difficult for Lions to be able to get themselves organized up to be able to generate energy to make a run. Did you get that kind of a feeling? And was there anything that you maybe could have done to advance further, or were you just kind of boxed in where you were?
Yeah, I kind of, I didn't have any problem with restarts up until that next to last one. I don't know if I just got a little bit better jump than Joe or if he had to check up for the guys in front of him. But yeah, it was, as soon as I hit him, I bounced off him, and that just slows the line down. So, the restarts weren't too bad, but, we got to clean up some stuff here. There's just too many cautions, and guys, I don't know if they're just amped up or whatever, but yeah, we got to get things cleaned up a little bit.
Obviously, we talked about your season so far. Congratulations, your first top 5 on the season, your first top 10 as well. Not been a whole lot of luck that's headed in the direction of this 088 car so far. So is this maybe a sign here of getting things turned around at the right point down the home stretch of the regular season?
Well, that was a much more pleasant way to put it than I've been putting it. It's been a S show, if you know what I mean. It's just been horrible season. I had to miss a race, and the other races I've just been in the middle of chaos. This is by far, as long as I can remember, the worst season I've ever had. So hopefully, there's always hope. No, we're not done yet.
Is there anything you can kind of attribute the bad luck to? Is it just positioning where the wrecks happen? That's where you seem to be? Is it maybe the qualifying draw putting you back in traffic? Is there some kind of standout thing there for you in terms of what's kind of been having the luck not go all as well for you, and that maybe can be improved upon to help keep this luck going?
Well, I've been in this long enough, and everything goes in streaks. So when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not. That's just the way it is. So hopefully I keep waiting to turn the corner. I had a decent run on the Nate Balzer's race on Saturday. I had a good run, and then I followed it up with a good run here. So maybe we're starting to build some blocks here, and I got a long way to go if I even want to have a hope of, I'm almost in a must-win situation at this point, and I still have to get in the top 20. So a lot of work to do, so more to come later, I guess.
Well, hey, might be turning the corner at the right time, and we documented the points are still really close here, even after 4 races in the books coming into tonight. So third place performance certainly going to leapfrog you through the point stands. We'll have to wait and see exactly what your positioning is heading into next week. But congratulations on getting the season turned around here tonight, finishing up in the top 3. Before we let you go, Tim, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my drafting buddies, Chuck, Brian, and Mark, Josh, Rodney, They do a great job on Thursday night. I want to thank Sean Prime more so now than ever for everything he's been doing to organize the race that's coming up Saturday. I'm not going to be able to attend Saturday's race, and it crushes my soul that I'm not going to make that race. But it's a tribute to Bones. Hopefully, I love that guy like a brother, and so hopefully everybody shows up, has a good time, and it's a fitting tribute to Bones. But I do want to thank Sean for all the extra effort he's putting in. He's got juggling a lot of things with home life, and so I really appreciate everything he's doing. And hopefully, I won't see you guys Saturday, but hopefully it's a great show.
Well, Tim, congratulations on the great run here tonight. P3 at Talladega. Again, as stated, hopefully this is a sign of good things to come. We see you keep the consistency going here down the home stretch of the regular season. Maybe find that victory you're looking for and make an appearance once again in the postseason.
All right. I appreciate you guys, too. Thank you for all you do.
That's Tim Knopfsker, third place here tonight in race number 5. Let's see if we can get a hold of Brian Rawson, who brings it home with his best finish of the season in second.
41st.
Hey, Brian,
too.
It's the guys up here in the booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
Yeah, as Blaine just said, from 41st position, almost picking up the victory. We've seen you do that before. I remember a few seasons ago, we saw you go to victory lane multiple times. Here tonight, your best finish on the season, almost able to get that checkered flag. What little more do you need? Because we saw you try that move there coming out of turn 4. Did you just not have someone close enough for a drafting partner there?
Yeah, I just needed a couple more cars behind me, but you know what? It's almost worst to first, man, but I'll take it, it's nice to have a good run.
Yeah, we were just talking moments ago with Tim Knopfsker, and he said this has just been a horrible season, has not been able to find the luck, and we look at where you were positioned in points coming tonight here as well in 25th. I mean, it's got to be a bit of a relief, right, to be bringing it home at least up inside of the top 5 after what's been going on these first 4 races, and do you maybe get a sense that this is the turnaround race, that now the luck is going to change and you're maybe going to be able to find that consistency?
Yeah, it's with all the cautions, it's kind of been a roll the dice where you're going to finish, and just because you run up front don't mean you're going to finish there. So yeah, hopefully this is a good sign for things to come.
Obviously we've ended up seeing 4 drivers go to victory lane here in these first 5 races. There's been a lot of parity through the field here as well. You talk about the multiple cautions that took place here tonight. How does that, for a driver like yourself that we normally see kind of forfeit a good qualifying effort, start at the back of the pack just about every week, how does that kind of vary up the strategy? Like, do you have a game plan when the green flag drops of where you'd like to be at a certain point, and how do those cautions affect that?
For me, I'm pretty good at hot pitting, so that's kind of what I rely on. But, sometimes when you don't have a bunch of green flag pit stops, you just have to rely on the cautions as well, and you just kind of hope you kind of plays in your hands. And a lot of times you can be burned by it. Sometimes it comes in your favor, so you just take it as it comes.
Well, Brian, a great run for you here tonight. Your first top 10, first top 5 scored on the season. It's still early on as well. There's still 4 races left to go. Points are still close, so definitely can make a charge up there for a playoff position. Still, the mathematics show that as a possibility. So congratulations on taking a step in the right direction here tonight. Hopefully we see this continue into next week. Before we let you go, give it the opportunity here for some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Hey, I definitely want to thank RTG. You set that for them with the broadcast, and definitely want to thank all my teammates at RPM Motorsports. Everybody that races, man, it's a good time, and want to throw a shout out for Rodney Solins for all the paint and all the work he does for that, and all the admins, Josh and Tim. It's a great time, man, and appreciate everybody, all their help they give out to this.
Brian Rawson started rear of the field, finishes up at the front of the field, second place here tonight at Talladega. Congratulations once again. Best of luck that maybe this consistency continues on into next week.
10-4, y'all take care, man.
Brian Rawson, second place here this evening as Chevrolets occupy 2 of the top 3 positions. The other Chevrolet, it's parked in victory lane. Let's dial up the 2-time winner, Chuck McClure. Hey, Chuck, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, guys.
Hey, welcome back to Victory Lane. 5 races in, 2 Victory Lane visits, 2 checkered flags, and some valuable bonus points racked up there as well towards the postseason. But, man, a dogfight there at the end. We were talking about how these last couple of races have trended towards the driver. That's the control car on the final restart, ends up being able to usually hold everybody off. You actually had to be on the offense here. Were able to block that run on the outside line, able to get to the race lead and then hold them off. But with having that victory in your hip pocket, how easy did it make it for you to be a little bit more aggressive here tonight?
Oh, it makes a huge difference. I had nothing to lose. I mean, I just wanted to keep my top 10 streak going, but had a lot of help, I can tell you that.
I love we were talking about that top 10 streak, and usually you think there's other priorities for a driver, but I love how you guys surprise us with these other priorities. Obviously, that top 10 streak, advancing in the bracket challenge as well, coming in as the number 1 seed. So congratulations on that. Talk to me about tonight in terms of what you had to do for the entirety of the race, because Kyle pointed out you win this race, but the evening did not start out well. You got clipped in that first wreck over in 1 and 2. So talk about the comeback of working your way back through the field, getting that track position and being there at the end.
Yeah, I thought, well, that's it. My streak's over. I'm done. Just ride around, collect points, but no damage. I held the brake, so I think that helps these cars not get damaged. And mostly all night I just passed cars. I didn't want to be behind some people, other people I didn't want behind me, and you have your people you'd rather run around, and luckily I got with them and just kind of rode after that.
So you talked about that top 10 streak still intact, obviously a second victory, but how about the regular season championship here with 4 races to go? Where does that kind of rank on the priority list? Because you're going to gain some ground on Denny Carroll, you're going to gain some ground on Schilling, some ground on Grant Wesley. The only driver that was within striking distance tonight was Carroll, and he finished towards the tail end of the pack, so you're going to have quite a bit of breathing space with that points lead going into next week.
Yeah, it's just that's on the list for sure, is to try to be the regular season champ. That's extra points in the chase. But no pressure now. I mean, I think I'm in the chase. Just no worries, no pressure. Just try to help other people that I think deserve to win.
Well, no worries, no pressure. You had that victory coming into tonight. You leave with a second one here, becoming the first multi-time winner on the season. So maybe even more opportunity to be aggressive here if the opportunity provides itself, and maybe find yourself with maybe 3 victories by the time we get to the postseason. Chuck, congratulations on the win here tonight. Second victory on the season, absolutely solidifying yourself a spot in this season's playoffs. We'll let you get back to your celebrating here in just a minute, but first we're going to turn the mic over to you for some Victory Lane. Thank you, sponsors and shout-outs.
Well, I appreciate Rodney painting a beautiful car first off, and all the admins here, including Rodney, who is one. Without them, we don't get to have fun and watch ourselves on TV. You guys for broadcasting, everybody at where I work, on Marshall County Schools, and everyone that helped push me tonight. I had a lot of help, and I'll not forget that.
A great run here tonight. Second victory of season 66 for Chuck McClure, as he parks that Gentleman Jack Daniels Chevrolet in victory lane here tonight at Talladega. Congratulations on a job well done, becoming the first multi-time winner on the season, and best of luck here with 4 races left to go until the postseason begins.
Appreciate it, guys. Look forward to watching it on TV.
Got McClure, the winner here tonight, won the season opener, follows it up with a victory here this evening. It was looking like it was going to trend towards 9 races and 9 different race winners, but we're only midway through the season, and Chuck McClure is making a pretty good case for himself to take the regular season championship.
Well, 5 races in, 5 top 10s, 2 victories. Yeah, absolutely. He's basically throwing it out there. Like, yeah, this is at least the regular season. This is his to win.
You know, we talk about a lot of drivers here that came into this race with consistency, hit some hard luck here tonight. Drivers that had hit hard luck previously, finding the consistency here tonight with some good runs. We talked with Nosker, we talked with Ross, and they said, man, it just feels good to bring the car home in one piece inside of the top 5. A lot of drivers have had difficulty finding their footing. McClure has not. What do you think the secret formula has got to be for him? Because I remember there was a time when there was a whole running joke that I think it was Nosker had the golden horseshoe, and then he passed it on to Schilling, who passed it on to Grant Wesley. Maybe Chuck McClure's stolen it and has it in his car for this season.
It sure looks like it. The way the way this season is going for him so far. Just kind of like we heard from I think an officer said earlier, like when you're hot, you're hot. So that McClure definitely has some momentum going at us for sure.
Definitely does. Well, it's going to be interesting to see with the fallout of this race what the point standings look like going into next week. We're officially halfway through the season. We are now in the home stretch. 4 more races left to go before we determine those that will be battling in the playoffs for the championship. If McClure wasn't already locked in coming into tonight, he has absolutely solidified his spot in the postseason with his 2nd victory in season 66. Will we see another multi-time winner next week, or will a new name emerge in victory lane to lock themselves up a spot to battle for the championship? We'll have to wait and find out. Thank you all for tuning into our coverage here tonight of season 66 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. Again, a reminder, tune in this Saturday. Coverage will start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Flatout Racing Network, where you'll see a number of these drivers and several more. 51 drivers are currently listed to take part in trying to qualify for the David Bones Cannon 00300 Tribute Memorial Race. Cannot wait to see what happens in that one. Got a lot of cool background stories that are going to be taking place there as well. Going to be a really, really good race. We know, obviously, with the caliber of drivers that we know are going to be taking part, you're going to see 2 simultaneous qualifying races. It's going to be definitely an event to remember. Hope you all will join us for that one. But thank you all for tuning in tonight. We'll see you guys next Thursday for the continuation of this series at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For Blaine Donlan, Kyle Matthews, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for joining us on our simulcast tonight on Tarnation TV and the Flatout Racing Network.